runs pretty good now.
Alright, what's up guys? Today, obviously it's another Z update, but it's gonna be filmed a little interestingly. So, Garrett is actually coming home to bring the Z back up to school. He goes to school in Michigan. We live in the Chicagoland area. So he's coming home to try to fix the Z and then bring it back up to Michigan with him. So that's a 4-hour drive on a $900 Nissan 300ZX. But I have total faith in it, but of course we're going to film all of that. But before we get into that, he did bring it out once over winter break, but it wasn't really long enough to make a whole video, so I'm going to show that footage now. So this was filmed a long time ago, and then we'll cut to the footage of Garrett and them working on it, because unfortunately I couldn't join them to work on it Friday night, so we'll cut to that.
Summer tires in the snow isn't fun. Ready? Yep. I ground the fuck out a second, but whatever.
So I thought I needed. So I thought I needed. Thought I needed.
It is 8:21 at night. We're just starting to work on the Z. I'm gonna do the cooling system and get the coolant temperature gauge put in, and then Steve over here is gonna do my steering wheel for me. And we're gonna both try and be working on this all night. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get it done. Hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. But I'm trying to drive it up for school Sunday morning. So fingers crossed it makes it up. Hopefully I don't break down on the road anywhere, but I think it should be fine. Everything looks good. So yeah, we'll update you with progress.
So here we got the factory 300ZX steering wheel, which as you can tell is not in the car because we have the Nardi.
We got the Nardi in it.
What do you think?
It looks fucking good. Trying to save a little piece of the BMW since, oh yeah, the viewers don't know. The E46 kind of, it blew up. So it's going away for a while.
In the arms of the
I'm keeping this from it just because it's nice and I want to keep a part of it. We got the temp sensor in. It's just an inline little bung. Gotta wire it up. One of these is ground, one is a signal for the gauge. Got my bleeder in here. And so now we're just gonna fill up the radiator as much as we can and then start the car up and let it idle, and it'll just bubble out of here. Gonna squeeze the hose a little bit to get any extra air out. And once that's all done, we can finish wiring it up and we should have a gauge. So it should be good.
Fill her up.
Fill her up, baby. So yeah, we'll just let it run until the thermostat opens up, and then it should start bubbling everything out that is left in there.
Get all the air out of her.
Hell yeah. Alright, so we had the car running. It was bleeding the air out of the cooling system, and I thought just to check, take my multimeter over here and stick it across the battery, because the old battery in this thing died. So, well, not that way, this way, stuck it across. It said 10.9 volts, and it was just dropping as the car was running. So that means the alternator is not charging the battery. So we just shut it off right then, and we're gonna wait on bleeding the cooling system any further or running the car anymore until we can get a look down at the alternator down here. You can see it. We got the manual, the Haynes manual, so we're gonna look through that, see if we can find anything, and then possibly have to go get a new alternator. I have read that the remanufactured alternators that you can buy as replacements are not the most reliable, and this one I bought as a remanufactured oil or alternator right when I first got the car, so maybe that's the issue. I don't know. We're gonna check the wiring, see if we can figure anything out with that. But yeah.
So Garrett, what's going on down there?
Burning my finger. The alternator's not charging the battery, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. I'm putting new eyelets on the terminals from the harness to the back of the alternator. Maybe there's some extra resistance in those or something. After I do that, put it back on, and then we'll wire it all back up, put the belt back on, and we'll check the power output from the terminal on the back of the alternator to the battery to determine if there's an issue between the alternator and the battery, or if it's just the alternator. We will see. If it produces less voltage than what we see when we just go across the battery, then we know that there's a problem with the alternator. So we're gonna test that and figure it out.
So Garrett, what do we got going on right now?
Took the old steering wheel out, put the Nardi in that I had in my E46 that you guys have
I did that.
Yeah, okay, Steve did that. You guys have probably seen the E46 before. It's been on Zach's channel a few times. But yeah, that car is getting sold. Gonna get rid of it. Gotta get something a little cheaper that I can daily, so I can still like put money into this thing. But yeah, the Nardi's on. It looks super good with this interior. It matches the black leather, like matches everything real well. So yeah, I'm pumped. It's gonna look really good.
The Nardi got donated by the BMW along with the battery, because that boy is dead.
Yeah, the battery in this thing was dead as fuck, so we put the battery in it from the E46. It's a little bit bigger than it needs to be, but it'll work just fine.
It happens. What are we doing over here?
Bigger is better, right? So now we have the cooling system all bled. We figured out the issue with the charging system. There were just some shitty connections on the eyelets on the back of the alternator, so that is now charging the battery. So what I'm gonna do is pull this center console apart, and right here I have a gauge pod where I can mount my coolant temperature gauge. That's my air fuel ratio gauge. That's already all wired up and everything. So yeah, we'll pull this stuff out, pull that out, mount the gauge, and then we gotta run the wires. Should be pretty easy.
It's gonna be a long night.
It's gonna be a long night, but that's what we're here for.
Yep. See you in a little bit. We got a nice little ghetto air filter rigged up with some high quality dryer vent hose. That's all done. What's going on inside here? Hey.
What up?
How's it going?
Good.
What you doing?
I am finishing wiring up the power and ground
Nice.
for the water temperature gauge. Just gonna stick this little guy.
With those wires.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh.
It's a dance party.
Oh, kill him.
It's solid now.
That's good.
Hooking up a ground.
Hooking up a ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those Are those wires from Japan?
Straight out of Japan.
JDM is bleep.
That's why it looks like shit.
Bleep.
Bleep. Alright, so we got a lot of stuff done tonight, but it's super late, and we both had class this morning before we drove back. So we're gonna go to sleep, and then tomorrow morning, 2:35 at night, in the morning, I guess. Yeah, we're gonna go to sleep, and then tomorrow morning we'll start working on it again. We really just have to do the oil pressure gauge, which should be super easy. And then, oh my god! Yeah, and then we'll be driving around tomorrow, shaking it down before I drive it up to school. And it's 4 hours of highway driving, so it's gonna, I don't know, it'll be an adventure, right? Yeah. So, Zach will be here tomorrow, so he can help film too. We've just been kind of filming on and off stuff since he's not been here. But he'll be here tomorrow, and we'll finish it up, and we'll have a good time. Yeah.
What you doing, Garrett?
Putting the oil pressure sensor in to the sandwich plate at after.
What you doing, Steve?
Python.
Done before you can take it up tomorrow.
I gotta finish putting this gauge in, so I can see my oil pressure as I'm going. I got to, what else? I don't know, last night we did all the coolant temp sensor wiring and gauge and stuff. We had that little issue with the battery not getting charged by the alternator, but we figured that out. So pretty much just this gauge and then a basic like run through of the whole car to make sure nothing's gonna shake loose or like fall on the exhaust manifold and catch on fire, and then it should be good pretty much. Yeah, that's about it.
So unfortunately, this is where the video takes a turn. Garrett got about 40 minutes into the drive up to Michigan, and the Z31 overheated. Turns out there was some radiator piping that was loose, drained all of the fluids, and it overheated the engine. He said it was blowing white smoke, and one of these cylinders was non-functional, which usually means a warped head. So unfortunately, that's how we have to conclude this episode of the Z update. We're not quite sure what's going to happen. I know Garrett will push forward and figure out something to do with the Z, whether it be an RB swap or rebuilding the current engine. It's up in the air, but something will happen, and of course you guys will see it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.